I rise today to celebrate the Republicans' National Appliance Protection Day. And this specific bill, the Refrigerator Freedom Act. That's right. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle are using their majority and our precious floor time to protect kitchen appliances. They are not trying to protect women's reproductive freedom. No, they're actually trying to take away a woman's freedom to control her own body. They are not trying to protect voting rights so that every eligible voter can vote. No, this week we actually will also be voting on a bill that is trying to make it more difficult for poor and rural Americans to vote. They're not trying to protect Americans' freedom to be who they want to be and marry whomever they want. No. Their Project 2025 platform intends to erase marriage equality for all Americans. And they are not trying to protect our children from their new leading cause of death in this country, guns. Nope. They are trying to protect every American's right to turn a semi-automatic weapon of war into an even deadlier automatic weapon of war. That's right. Instead of reproductive freedom, Republicans are focused on refrigerator freedom. In closing, I do want to give my friends on the other side of the aisle credit for one thing. They are certainly consistent. Just as they want to take our country back to the 1950s, where white Christian men were in complete control, they also want to take our appliance technology back to the 1950s as well.
Democrats pushing back forcefully against MAGA Republicans' behavior and the MAGA Republican stunts. That was Democratic Congressmember Dan Goldman calling out that MAGA Republicans spent the entire day spreading conspiracies about Democrats trying to take away people's dishwashers and trying to replace plastic straws with paper straws. It's what the MAGA Republicans are spending their time talking about. Here's MAGA Republican Jeff Duncan talking about what MAGA Republicans think is the most important issue. Play this clip.
But I do load and unload the dishwasher. And I can tell you, Mr. Speaker, that many times I have opened the dishwasher, loaded properly with the right amount of dishwashing liquid or pod put in, that all the dishes aren't clean. Rinsed off before they were put in to the gentlelady, and had to run it again. And Americans know this.
Thankfully, we have Democratic pro-democracy members in Congress who are pushing back. Here is Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett going over the fact that Donald Trump is a convicted felon 34 times. Play this clip.
They found him guilty not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4, not 5, not 6. I could keep going on, but 34 counts were given. So the opinions of these people who were not juries is not what we do in this country. In this country, we have a system in which jurors decide who is found guilty. And if you have a problem with that, you go to the appellate court, which the last time I checked, he was raising money so that he could go to the appellate court and appeal his decision, and they will have the final say so. Thank you so much.
Yes, they will.
Next up, we have Democratic Congressman Jim McGovern, again, calling out the MAGA Republicans and calling out the hypocrisy regarding Donald Trump and their behavior here. Play this clip.
And if you want to talk about protecting elections, maybe my Republican friends ought to start telling the truth about the last election. And let me remind them that the leader of their party tried to submit fraudulent slates of electors to steal the last election. That's voter fraud, my friends. That's what voter fraud looks like. And my friends on the other side of the aisle said, not a thing. Not a thing. After court after court after court upheld the fact that we had a free and fair election. But the former president actually submitted fraudulent slates of electors to try to change the result of the last election.
Democratic Congressmember Ted Lieu then gives a press conference where he tells the media, do your damn job and focus on what the American people care about and what are actually important. Big stories like Donald Trump appearing over and over again on the Epstein list. Here, play this clip.
So like Chairman Aguilar said, we hear a lot from our constituents on different issues, but something I've heard that doesn't seem to be being covered are the Epstein files. These files were released, and like Donald Trump's sort of all over this, right? There are pictures of him with Jeffrey Epstein. He's taken multiple plane flights with Epstein with young girls on board. He is on call logs with Epstein. One of the highest trending hashtags on Twitter right now is about Trump and Epstein. I'm not going to repeat the hashtag because we're in a dignified setting. But yeah, y'all might want to look at that because that's highly disturbing. And again, it shows that Donald Trump is unfit for office. And by the way, he was convicted in a civilian court for sexual assault, convicted in a separate court of 34 felonies. Donald Trump should drop out of the race.
Next up is Congresswoman Stansbury. Powerful moment right here from her House floor speech. Play the clip.
I rise today in opposition not only to this rule, but the bills that it advances. And I have to say that I am amazed daily by the debates that I hear in this chamber and in our committees, and outraged that the GOP is using the floor to advance a hateful agenda, to take away voting rights, and to advance insane legislation. Because 1 week after we celebrated this great nation's independence, we are here today as they're putting forward legislation to protect our kitchen appliances. That's right, folks. Running bills on the floor entitled The Freedom of Refrigerators and Dignity for Dishwashers. I'm not making this up. These are the real names of the bills that they're running this week. Because apparently they're more concerned about the freedom of our refrigerator than the freedom to make decisions about our own bodies. They're more concerned about our dishwashers than they are about democracy. And they're more concerned about appliances than an autocrat who is seeking re-election, who says he wants to be a dictator on day one. So I ask my colleagues, honestly, how do you do this with a straight face? Because y'all, this ain't normal. This is insane. Is this the freedom and democracy that our country fought for? Arguing for kitchen appliances? Is this what your constituents are telling you? Because mine are telling me that they're terrified about the future of this country and about their families and their rights. They're asking us to fight to protect LGBTQ rights and abortion, to address climate change, to lower costs, to protect voting rights. And you're over here asking us to vote on a bill to protect the rights of dishwashers and refrigerators. It's insane. So I'm just like at a loss. It's time to wake up. It's time to get to work. It's time to serve the American people because literally our democracy depends on it. And I yield back.
Back to Democratic Congressmember Ted Lieu, who talks about MAGA Republicans bragging about overturning Roe. Play this clip.
Thank you, Chair Aguilar. Donald Trump campaigned on overturning Roe versus Wade. Trump then appointed extreme MAGA justices who lied to the Senate and then proceeded to overturn Roe versus Wade. And then Trump bragged about overturning Roe versus Wade. Now Trump is trying to run away from that, but he can't. Why? Because in fact, Roe versus Wade was overturned. That's a thing. That's a fact. And
then we have Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter talks about how what MAGA Republicans are doing is everything that's wrong with how they're just treating Congress in general. They're spreading wild and deranged conspiracies about Democrats taking away people's dishwashers, and then MAGA Republicans who purport to be small government then want to use government to mandate the types of dishwashers people can have. And Katie Porter's like, what are we even talking about? Here, play this clip.
I would like to yield. Are you willing to engage in this? Representative Duncan, I'd like to know if you know what the average utility cost is a month to run a dishwasher. Nope, he doesn't know. $2 to $4 a month. In other words, about a third of a Frappuccino. $2 to $4 a month. Mr. Duncan, do you know about how much a dishwasher costs, Representative Duncan? Like a mid-range dishwasher? Nope, he doesn't know. About 800, 900. You want to get fancier, like 1,000? Representative Duncan, do you know the best ways, the most important things you can do to make your dishwasher get the dishes clean? Nope, not a dishwasher expert. Loading it correctly. Mr. Chair, do you know how long it takes to load a what the most important technique is to load a dishwasher correctly? It is loading it correctly. Well, I'm asking. Because what I haven't heard, I've heard a lot about the Biden border, the so-called border crisis. What I haven't heard about is anything about dishwashers. So as somebody who saved and scrimped and was so proud to get a new dishwasher and can tell you a lot about them, what they cost, what kinds of features they have, how to load it properly, which I wish every person, every man and child in America would listen to their wife.
Gentlewoman, another 2 minutes.
Would listen to their spouse about how to load the dishwasher correctly. Those are the most important things that make your dishes get clean. This bill is ridiculous. It is Congress at its worst. A bunch of people who haven't unloaded a dishwasher ever, telling the American people what legislation, what kind of dishwashers they should or should not be able to buy. On behalf of every American woman who's going to load and unload tonight and again tomorrow morning, I yield back.
Gentlelady yields.
Another great moment here from Democratic Congress member Ted Lieu talking about Project 2025. Play this clip.
We also know that with Project 2025, this creepy document written by Trump's closest advisors and confidants, that they want to ban abortion nationwide. Project 2025 also wants to eliminate the Department of Education, and it wants to eliminate the National Weather Service. I mean, you're not going to get accurate weather forecasts anymore. You're just going to get stupid weather forecasts. I mean, this document is creepy. It's a takeover of the American form of government, and it's a collection of extreme MAGA ideas that's going to ruin our way of life. That is what is at stake this November.
Here we have MeidasTouch contributor Sean Wu. He was giving testimony before the House today, and here's Democratic Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz asking Meidas contributor Sean Wu some questions. Play this clip.
I want to discuss what Project 2025 would mean for women who face medical pregnancy issues. Trump's abortion bans have already caused irreversible damage to women's health across the country, with women having to turn septic and get close to death before a doctor can legally perform a life-saving abortion, despite earlier intervention being medically warranted. The bottom line, Trump's abortion bans have led to inflicting unnecessary brutal pain and harm to women, including preventable deaths. That's not some Democratic talking point, that's directly from doctors. A majority of OBGYNs stated that when Trump overturned Roe v. Wade, it increased maternal deaths and discourages doctors from even going into the field. In a survey, 70% of providers say they believe it has also worsened existing racial and ethnic inequalities. This comes from the men and women who actually care for their patients, doctors who took an oath to do no harm. Legal hurdles are causing harmful health outcomes. Mr. Wu, do you think that innocent women truly trying to receive necessary health care will be unfairly criminalized by Project 2025?
Yes, I do. And I think in particular, some of the language in the Project 2025 document, such as the phrase abortion tourism, I find to be deeply offensive. Women do not take vacations in order to have abortions.
I agree that it is deeply offensive.
Then we have MAGA Republican Senator Tommy Tuberville attacking NATO's 75th anniversary and saying that America should provide no help to Europe at all. Play the clip.
Biden said don't, and Putin said I will do, and went into Ukraine and is still there. What is up with this? Where does Biden think he's uniting NATO and shutting down Putin?
Well, first of all, congratulations to the American taxpayers for funding Europeans' defense for the last 75 years. And that's what President Trump said. Pay your dues.
I mean, isn't it just obvious that Tommy Tuberville is an agent of Russia? It's really a sad thing to see for all freedom-loving Americans that we have senators and part of this Republican Party that's been taken over by MAGA. That's just full-blown Putin sympathizers. Very strange. I mean, here, by the way, Donald Trump at the speech that he gave in Miami yesterday, he claims that before he took office, he didn't even know what NATO was. Here, play the clip.
I didn't even know what the hell NATO was too much before, but it didn't take me long to figure it out, like about 2 minutes. And the first thing I figured out was they weren't paying. We were paying. We were paying almost fully for NATO.
By the way, from that same speech, in terms of the issues that were being pushed by Marco Rubio, they were talking about, is what Rubio was talking about. The big issue was straws, plastic versus paper straws. Play the clip.
But the truth is that it ranges from that to I saw a clip the other day where she wants to ban plastic straws. Those paper straws suck. We don't want paper straws in America.
Finally, we have MAGA Mike Johnson talking about cuts that he's going to make, or cuts that he wants to see make. And the clear implication is there's no other way to hear what he's saying. He's going to cut Social Security and Medicare. Here, play the clip.
Truth, but our biggest national security challenge is our national debt. That's what the leaders of the Pentagon say when you put them under oath, and we all know that. To meet our defense needs, Congress has to work to grow our economy and significantly reduce our overall spending. And I can promise you that come 2025, spending reform will be a top priority for our new Republican majority. And they're not going to be easy conversations, but they are essential for our long-term survival. Congress has to prioritize the truly essential needs of our nation, and our national security has to be at the top of that list.
So I think it's important that you see the contrast there and judge for yourself. Pro-democracy Democrats, MAGA Republicans, make that call. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Just wanted to share that with you. Hit subscribe. It's free.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.